Well, good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio. This first show as we build up to the season 23-24. I shall join myself, Foxchair, on the show as young GB and young JM. How are we doing, boys?
Good evening, Oxtair. Good evening, JM. Welcome all.
Yeah. Evening, guys. Good to be back and build up to the weekend.
How are we doing, GB? What's your thoughts on that friendly and how everything's going at the moment?
Ox, I think I'm much the same as most of the fans. The pre-season games have been a bit huff and puff. The weekend game, I was probably pleased that we came back into it and we got the 2-2 at the end. It showed a wee bit of desire there. But obviously we'll touch on it. There is concerns in amongst the tactics in the team, Ox, as it stands now.
JM?
Yeah, the same. I think most fans' feelings are mutual at the moment. We'll dive into it in a bit more detail, but I think the weekend friendly was a classic game of two halves, if you like.
Oh, that's a good point. Do you want to hear my thoughts on it then? I'll open up to you.
Aye.
Please do.
Aye, please. I think, as we discussed last week, I think we're far too narrow. We gave too much to Bobby. We're two fullbacks that played at the weekend. Arguably, we're first choice. Right and left back as we sit at the moment. Whether we will be going forward, I don't know. But the two of them also never played well. But I don't like the shape when we give that much space out in the wings to the opposition. They make it relatively easy for them. I didn't think we played well at all in the first half. Some nice touches at times for Lammers and even Cantwell, a couple of flicks and all that. And obviously, Raskin does what he does. But his distribution is no great. The back four wasn't fantastic with Big Johnny in there who's learning his trade. You know, alongside Balogun who's trying to get fit, and we were exposed. Second half we played better with Ryan Jack come in and John Lundstrom went back there. Now I would say we played better maybe because John wasn't in midfield. We got the penalty kick with a good ball with Ryan Jack and we scored an excellent second goal and had situations where we could have won the game. But my problem is we're very narrow in possession. We know what, and we're very narrow out of possession. And we give the wings away to the opposition and good teams will hurt us. JM?
Yeah, like you said there, I think that's 4 pre-season games we've watched really. We've pretty much played the same shape throughout. And to be honest, I know it's hard friendlies, you don't want to sound negative, but I'm yet to see a positive to the shape. I think attacking wise, it's easy to defend against. You've got possibly at times 6 players, maybe within 40 yards of each other. Makes it easy for midfielders on the opposition just to mark the space. And then, like you say, when the ball does turn over, if you like, traditionally a team will play with, apart from us, it seems, with a left midfielder or left winger and a fullback. It's constantly leaving both fullbacks of ours with a 2-on-1 situation, which is always going to give a team a chance to get the ball in the box.
GB?
I totally agree with both of you. I think the first half in particular, the fullbacks area were wide open. It was long balls that they were playing, and if you look at Hoffenheim's 2 goals, I mean, the first one, Tav goes for it and the ball goes under Tav's feet.
That wasn't a goal, mate. That wasn't a goal.
That was the first 2 minutes. Actually, that's not me. The first goal, obviously, with Ridvan. Just again, the sloppiness, like the guy sliding along the flare and wins the ball and puts it in the back of the net. You know what I mean, and then like I says, we move on for there, and we just don't seem to be in cohesion. Ox, I just don't know what it is that. I says they long boys. I think the manager you would think would be picking up on that. And
I've got a tip for you, mate. I've got a tip for you. Football's a simple game. Space has never scored a goal in its life, but players will.
Aye, good players as well. That Ox, you mean? Like I says, again, Ridvan was at fault for not so much just Ridvan, but the second goal was static. I mean, the guy just basically played it across the goal and the boy had a tap in. I mean, it's.
When I mentioned that, I thought it could have been offside, but Ridvan's defending JM for both goals was poor.
Yeah, especially, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, especially the first goal when he goes in for that 50-50. I mean, you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to nick it, but there's a time and a place on the pitch for that. That's, almost a left winger trying to skip past a defender with a sliding tackle. He needs to be standing strong and just make sure he clears the ball. I mean, what is he, 10 yards from his own net? Just showed a little bit maybe of naivety there, I think.
Or was it because it was a friendly?
Possibly you've got that. I mean, I think we've also got to remember that as well. You've got players maybe a week away. Ridvan's had a bad bit of luck when he joined us of injuries, and maybe he's already one eye on this Saturday now, but at the time next Saturday, and maybe thinking he wants to be in contention there. But I still think you can approach that tackle a little bit differently without maybe hurting yourself.
The second one, what was your thoughts on that, JM and then GB? But he gets squared up, the guy can only go one way, and he doesn't defend, doesn't do enough.
Yeah, it makes it easy for the guy, doesn't he? Makes his decision. I think everyone watch it. It's one of them where it's, we're not the professionals. There's a reason why we're sat watching it, but it looks obvious at the time, doesn't it? And whatever. And then obviously we've got the same old thing where you think we'd learn from last season where other defenders stop, where you play to the whistle, don't you?
Yeah. So at half time, there was a big positive for me that I took out it. I don't know if you picked that up, used to.
Go on.
I thought it was a lovely strip.
I thought you were going to say something like, I was glad to see Ryan Jack come on or something like that.
Yeah, something constructive. Yeah.
Oh, right. That was the only positive I could take out it. That was a nice strip we played in. That was it. And if I'm also honest, I thought Jack Butland done all right. And the morning signs were there, GB, before we lost a goal, because he made 2 decent saves.
Ox, I was going to just touch on that. That was probably one of the highlights of the poor first half, was that Jack Butland actually had a busy day. He was showing his qualities, to be fair. So it was I suppose, out of something bad comes something good, that he had a good run out. And like I says, we've obviously picked up a good goalkeeper there, because I think the run up to that second goal, even just before that, they hit a ball wide, and Jack Butland made himself big, especially as well in, I think, the early minutes of the game as well, for Tav's mistake. He made himself big as well. So I think there was a couple of crosses as well in the first half, I can remember as well, came out and got them, they bother. So I agree with you, Ox, that was a plus. Butland was looking decent out of a bad bunch.
Aye. Only time will tell. It's unusual you see he lost 2 goals, JM, but he played all right.
Yeah, no, played well. I mean, I think in the other games he's played, I think it was the last one he didn't get much game time, but he hadn't really been tested. He'd either faced a screamer or a header he couldn't get near, or he hadn't had any shots to face. It was good to see him. I know you never want to see a goalkeeper busy, but it was good to see him busy and to see that, if we do come under pressure, he looks like he's going to be able to handle it.
If I say so far, his distribution coming for crosses, there was one in the second half he took. Was it second half? I think he took it under the bar. No, that was the first half. He took one right under the bar because of his size. So early thoughts are ticking the box.
Yeah, it's good solid signing.
Yeah, 100%. I think especially in our league, I mean, I know we went a few years without it, and maybe we thought that was a negative, but having a goalkeeper of that height, somebody when a lot of these teams' only threat is the ball in the box, you got somebody at 6'5" coming out, it makes a difference.
Yeah. So we started the second half change. We didn't play particularly well. We got the penalty kick, penalty all day long for me, GB.
Yep, Ox, Idessel's done well, didn't he? He was actually trying to turn Ox, I think, and get a shot away just as the boy brought him down. So, again, a plus point. Your strikers are getting penalties for you, and like I says, Tav does what Tav does. We got to see the best and the worst of Tav in that game as well.
Aye, I'm sure we'll come to that as the night goes on. So we get the penalty. We started playing a bit better. He scores a right good goal for a decent move. Kieran Dowell come on, played it out to Tav. Simple pass, just moved it wide. Somebody out wide, going to that point again, but happens to be a full pit. Puts in an excellent cross. And lo and behold, Sam Lammers appears, who's been maybe the pick of our outfield players in the new signings. An excellent header, Giant.
It's a great goal. There's always something quite good to see about the front post headers, isn't there? Just glancing them, sort of using the pace of the ball in from Tavernier. But like you say, it's frightening, really, isn't it? A midfielder that steps onto the ball, runs 5 yards with it, and passes it to a wide man who then puts a cross in, and there's a couple of men in the box. It sounds very simple when you say it like that, doesn't it?
It is simple.
Yeah, men in the box, man out wide who you can pass the ball to, gives the midfielders a ball to play to, and then suddenly, he's not only got one target in there, Tavernier, he's got at the time, I think, well, at least 2 of them who are 6 foot plus and actually got a chance of winning the header.
Are we not to our new signing as well, Ox? He helped in the build up to that play as well, getting the second goal with De Niro.
Yeah, nice little touchback, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I thought he was fine when he came up. I thought he was fine, but yeah, let's get the boy better, get fitter. And I think initial first impressions, the boy looks fine. Whereas when I've looked at the boy's seamer so far, unless it's just the way he plays the friendlies, he's not offered a lot. But maybe when the competitive games kick in, GM, the boy might come to the fore.
Yeah, you've got to hope you'll maybe start to see an edge. And, again, you've got back the managers maybe seeing something when we're playing against slightly different defences and whatever. I mean, I know we're looking to play in Europe and different things, but he's thinking all these friendlies have been competitive for a reason and open. And maybe when the defences start to sit back a bit, we might see a bit more of his quality coming forward as well. But as you say, at the moment, unfortunately, not seeing too many positives from it.
No, so as you said at the start, GB, a classic game of 2 halves, huh?
Aye, and 2 halves as well. It was just
go on, get it off your chest.
I mean, Ox, what I say is, and it's Marmite with half. Sometimes it's just what I say that second half. I mean, the boy puts in for that second goal, brilliant. I mean, the penalty, is class. He places it brilliant. It's just, what I say, I don't know what he was doing that first half. Again, silly mistakes, getting caught out at the back and all that. And that's what opens them up to criticism. And more people focus on that than, obviously, like you say, is that cracking cross for the second goal. I mean, there's not probably too many players in that team that could hit a cross in like that and get it on Lammers' head. So I don't know. Hopefully it's just the pre-season kind of cobwebs he's getting off him, and then hopefully.
Is it just tough?
It is, aye, probably.
Listen, see when the one run under his foot in the first minute, JM. Well, I was annoyed at the time, and what made me more annoyed was the fact that he worked hard, got the ball back, and then caught dallying in the box. He'd done the hard bit, got back and recovered.
Yeah, no, the combination again of slackness and just not quite being on it. I mean, if I'm being honest, in actual open play in the friendlies, he hasn't been at his shot. I think like a few of them maybe just tuning in a little bit and not being quite at sharpness. I mean, the friendly last Saturday, the ball got nicked off him a few times, trying to skin the bloke in a few different things. But I'll still take, if you like, an assist and a goal, and only contributed one. A +1 goal difference for a defender isn't bad, is it, in a game?
All right, you hear him that then, +1. Is that what you're getting him?
I'll give him a +1 goal difference, I think.
All right, aye. And that was my frustrations, GB. Done the hard bit after his mistake, get back in to cover it up, and then dilly-dallied and made the mistake worse.
Mm-hmm. Aye, and like even the manager picked up on him as well, saying that he's not playing to the whistle and stuff like that, Ox, during the game. And I mean, I says that's bread and butter stuff. You know what I mean? He knows to keep going, and we can't afford mistakes like that because, like a lot of people are saying, I think like say Kamar games and the lower opposition in the league will be able to take care of no bother and probably have the wee mistakes and get away with it, but when it's the big important games, when it's the games that you're out to win trophies and stuff like that, then you can't be like this. And he's really, like I says, next week Kilmarnock will make it this week, Kilmarnock will make it a tough game. And like I says, we can't have them dilly-dallying the way they are in the box because Kilmarnock they'll love a chance like that and they'll just sit on it. As soon as if they get any kind of goal, then they'll just love to just sit in and make it hard work for us all day. So, like I says, he's either had a good talking to in the dressing room at half time, and then he obviously comes out and does what he does. You mean, and if he does more of that, then Oxley he'll not get his criticisms because hopefully the team will help him. And maybe that's how Matt says with Ryan Jack coming on, his cover. Then maybe Tav needs that, Ox. Like you says, is it just Tav? Maybe we need to help Tav in the sense of his defensive deficiencies, you know what I mean? And he's got to maybe have that cover.
I forgot to help him, mate, if he's not doing his job. The question that people ask is, right, if that's what you've got today, what's he doing in the team?
Aye, well, he's got a young boy, isn't he, pushing to get into that place, Ox. And to be fair, young Sterling didn't do anything much wrong when he came on. He actually had a couple of nice wee touches. I like to be track the ball back and then done the defender. Do you mean? So, aye, the boy's showing a bit of quality as well, and his wee cameo that they had.
Aye. Well, we know what you get for Tav GM, you know, and as GB rightly says, for a lot of people, he's Marmite, you know, and well, the piece, I think he's been a success when he's been in his club because he's the greatest defender. No, he's not. But if you've got to start setting your team up to cover him because he's not doing his job right, so he shouldn't be in the team.
Depends what he's being told his job is in the team, isn't it? Even though he's a right back traditional defender, but is his job assisting goals? Is it Raskin, say for example's job to be filling in for him? Is that what Raskin's told? I mean, you can't. I mean, if he starts missing the ball like that all the time, I'd agree he shouldn't be in the team. But you don't know what he's being. None of us know what his objective is in the team. Is it to get up the wing and cross it? And is it the centre halves and the holding midfielder's job to cover that space? And then on the other hand, Tavernier might be saying, "Well, I'm on 2-on-1s every time of this shape at the moment. I need some cover."
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, fair enough and more. Right, you mentioned the shape. Right. I think we set up where I think it was a 4-2-1-3, yeah, or it might be a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, we had Raskin and John Lundstrom sitting with the Lammers, Cantwell, and Seaman in front of him, with Dessers up top, yeah?
Yeah, more of a 4-2-3-1, I think, on paper, you'd think.
Aye. And then the problem is, when they four go forward, and the other teams come away, the two midfielders can't cover on that distance, Giant.
No, you can't. You can't keep running across the ground, and it's especially harder if these teams keep breaking across the wings. Because if we've got a little, and it also depends on how cheaply we're giving away the ball as well. If we've got players getting forward, Tavernier, Barisic, Yilmaz, whoever it is, and we're losing the ball cheaply, suddenly there's a turnover, and it's not ideal. When suddenly maybe your fullbacks are looking more exposed than they should at the time. Lundstrom and Raskin, they're maybe being asked to cover 40 yards each between them. And as you know, you can't chase the ball around like that. Good players are just going to make the ball move. It's an impossible situation, really.
Yeah. What are you thinking, GB?
I think, like I say, Ox, with especially somebody like Lundstrom, they're not showing that kind of way that they've got a bit of pace that they can track back like that. And I think even the Hoffenheim were picking up that they could just play the long box because they were doing that a few times. They had that. Even Kevin Thompson picked up in the commentary that they kept doing that. They kept playing that long ball all the time, and they were getting good success with it because, like you say, Ox, there's that much space that they've got time to bring it down and put a ball across the face of goal. And I don't know how many chances they had like that. Like it says, we said Butland was so busy because that was the kind of play they were doing. And again, we've seen that throughout the games, Ox, the pre-season games, that we are getting opened up like this. And like it says, the Champions League qualifiers are around the corner, Ox, and we can't play like that, no, against these teams because they've got guys that have got pace, they've got guys that are talented. Maybe against Kilmarnock that you could probably play a bit like that because you'll have a wee bit of a better, lesser quality to play against. But like I says, when you start going in that Champions League realm, Ox, these guys will eat their kind of chances up.
I'm not liking the way we're setting up, Jay. I'm not liking it.
I think it's reasonably predictable and it's if you're watching that and you're watching all four, unless we're throwing in a curveball next Saturday and we've got some sort of special system, which I highly doubt it, it's quite easy to set up against, isn't it? You don't even have to play with so much a centre forward. If you know, like JB was saying there in regards to the spaces in the wings, you just leave 2 men cheating on each flank and just hit the ball over the top. You feel like you're going to get an opportunity against us.
So would you play a 4-4-2 against us and play your 2 forwards playing down the channels wide?
I think that would be, if you're being event, it's easier to do with us with the Subuto board and not actually playing for real. But if you're looking at it, I think that's how I'd be setting up against us. You know, the fullbacks are going to commit, and then it's up to us. Do our 2 centre backs split across and the holding midfielder drops in, or do we not and we leave a 2-on-2 but with both centre backs exposed potentially against 2 quick wingers?
And then when you're playing in with the 2 midfielders, if they're against 4, and then
there's another overload there, isn't there? Again, easy to mark the space, and then also with the way it's set up, if you like your 2 wide attackers suddenly playing in like the inside forward role, it becomes really easy to mark, and also easier to steal the ball because we're trying to play almost a close keep ball game, if you like, in the centre third, and it's hard to play.
All right, we'll get people's thoughts for it. We know it wasn't great the first half. 2-2 away from Hoffenheim in a normal tie. I suppose we'd accepted that, GP. A Bundesliga team.
Ox, I did like kind of Butland's comments on it at the end, that they said that the half time that they wanted to give themselves something to take it away for the game as if it was a kind of European tie, and I did like that kind of attitude that they came out in the second half, that they wanted to get something from the game. So it does show a bit of character there and stuff like that. The only thing, last, is I can think in the back of my head, Ox, is that the boys are kind of in a wee bit of second gear, and that they're maybe holding back because they want to be nice and fresh for the season starting. They want to keep themselves fit. Maybe if they dive in there 110%, then they might have an injury before the start of the season. So that's the only thing I'm thinking in the back of my head, that maybe this is why there's a wee bit of slackness creeping in, but the shape's no helping.
See, if the Olympiacos game had been first giant before we opened the phone lines, and then we might have played away to Hoffenheim, and then Newcastle had been the third game, and the performances had improved. The performances up until half time on Saturday, the 2 games, the third game, were getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, almost went the opposite, if you like, as you'd plan it, wouldn't it? It's quite funny, obviously, they're good for, and then Newcastle, and then, like you say, it got a bit worse. But I think the manager, I don't know if he's covering and whatever, but they've made it very clear and served the players that they're also doing a lot of running in between these games. They're not going into these games, maybe, if you'd like, I don't know if match fits the right word, but you wouldn't be going into, you like to think, a competitive game with his heavy legs. The manager's made that clear on quite a few interviews, that he's running the players hard in between.
And obviously, with a wee bit of sickness bug that came through the camp at the weekend, I don't know if you picked that up, lads.
Aye, and obviously they had to even drop 1 player back half before he even got to the plane, so that's no good either, Ox, isn't it?
No. Couldn't have been a toilet on the bus. Right, let's get these phone lines open. Let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right. I'm going to put the 2 U's on the spot. Yes?
Yep.
Right, okay. I know it's a long time away, and a lot of things could happen between now and Saturday. But if you were Michael Beale, what's your team for Saturday? We'll go through it together. Butland's a certainty to start. Cheyenne?
Yep, Butland in goal for me. I think it's obvious as well with the game time for the others. I don't think there's a debate on that.
GB?
Yep, concur.
Right back? Go on then, GB?
Tavernier.
Yep, Tavernier.
After the doing you gave.
He's a captain, isn't he? And what I say is, as JM's pointed out, the man got a goal and an assist that day, so we need that. And he's, by the way, he's top goal scorer so far. So it's back to the same ways as last season. We're relying on a right back to keep us ticking in.
Aye, right, okay. Right, left back. JM.
Borna.
GB.
Redvan.
Oh God! Right. The performance is really, really poor for Redvan. I thought his end of the season was relatively good. Bonner's not been great on the Astro in the past. I'll go Redvan. Right, okay, but it's a just a Redvan. It's a Brexit 51-49.
I would have liked to have seen everyone's reaction for the goals if it was Borna doing them. But
Oh,
If
100%.
Bonner had done that, it would have been 99% Redvan to start the weekend, wouldn't it?
yeah.
You know? Aye, the Border, he was poor. There's no doubt about it. He was poor.
And also the game before as well.
He lost 3 goals in a row for us. I mean, he caused the 3rd goal, didn't he? Against the Olympiacos.
And doesn't look like he can cross it either, but I agree with you two. It's not a bad pick.
You know. Right, centre backs. We'll assume that John Souttar and Ben Davies are fit. Yeah. And that will Leon Balogun and Big Johnny is about all we've got. I don't think Leon King's ready yet. Obviously, Connor's back in training. What are you going for? 2 centre backs, Giant.
I'll be going with Souttar and Balogun for this one.
GB.
I'm going with Souttar and Davies.
I'm going for Souttar, and I hope that Souttar phones his brother Souttar, and we go with 2 Soutars. I think you'll go with Davies, and I'll tell you why, Giant. I think he doesn't think that Leon's fit enough. You seen him getting cramped there.
Arguably the fitness thing. If you're maybe going on a fitness thing, probably just edges it, Davies. But I was thinking more of the tight pits and the physicality that Leon's Balogun's proven it before, hasn't he? And he doesn't look like it's gone for him.
Ben Davies wasn't great when we played there last season, but it's time for him to stand up and be counted. Okay. Right, how are we setting this team up, Giant?
I think you'll see similar. I think you'll see a sort of a 2-3-1. I don't know if he thinks I know it's jumping there, but I don't think the 2 centre forwards might be fit enough to play it together yet. So I think you'll see a 2-3-1 going in.
Okay, who's your 2 setters then?
I'll be going with Raskin and Dow.
Wow, bold. GB.
Is this what we think would happen, or what we really want to happen? Like, because if I was going with it, I would rather that we went with a 4-3-3 and you had Raskin just sitting and we had Dow and Cantwell in there going forward. Is it 2 attacking midfielders and just Raskin as the sitter? But I agree with JM. I think he will have the 2 sitters. So if it's the 2 sitters, then I'm going to go with Raskin and Lundstrom, and Cantwell will be the other one.
That's what I feel like, right? A babysitter. Right, I think I get your point with JM about Dowell and Raskin, but I think the manager will play Lundstrom and Raskin, yeah? But the team looked better.
He'll play his pal?
Yeah, the team looked better. The team looked better when Ryan Jack was in there.
Yeah, true. None of us have mentioned Jack, and we all said before that the team improved when Jack came on the pitch, didn't we? Which is quite good. But no, I think maybe a babysitter. I just think Dow's played the majority of the minutes, looked comfortable, and obviously Raskin seems to be the number 1 pick. So I don't see any reason why you wouldn't see the pair of them together.
Has Dowell played as a sitter? He's played left and right, hasn't he? But he's not played as a sitter.
No, not as a sitter as such, but that first pre-season against Newcastle, Lundstrom was played as almost a far right midfielder, the attacking right midfielder. I don't think you can read much into that. I think Dow's got an engine, and he obviously he looks like he likes to tackle.
So the three in front of them, yeah. We'll go wide left, wide right, and then centre. GB.
Wide left will be Seema. Wide right, Lammers. Centre will be Dessers.
Wow. I don't know about that, mate. With the Dessers would be up top if he was playing anywhere. Have you got this formation 4-2-3-1?
Sorry, I haven't thought you mean the front three. You're going for the front.
JB already said his midfield three, didn't you? You
Mm-hmm.
said your midfield three. You went for the 3-3.
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right. Right. So the three in front. All right. I get that. Right. That's your front three. Right. So Nick Campbell. GB.
Well, Cantwell's in my midfield, so I've got
Right.
Raskin, Lundstrom, and Cantwell as a midfield, and then you've got your Seema, Dessers, and Lammers up front. But I know where you're coming from. Like, you're playing with a forward midfielder with the other three running about him.
How do you think you'll go there in front of the two that you've got sitting, Graham?
In front of the two, is it how we think they'll go? He's good.
Yeah.
So how you think he'll have Seema on the left, Lammers behind, and Lammers and Campbell, I think, sort of interchange a little bit, don't they? But one of them in the centre and one of them on the right, depending on what they fancy. But that'll be your three in front of him: Seema, Lammers, and Campbell.
Up top.
It's a long week in training, isn't it? How sharp? I mean, we haven't seen enough of the new guy yet. He looks sharp. I don't know how fit he is, but to me, it'll be Dessers, won't it? Even though I don't think he's.
You think so? Do you think that Dessers looked fitter than Danilo?
No, I didn't. But it's been a couple of weeks, so I'm not sure it's a long week. So that's a real 50-50 for me. I think you'll see Dessers start.
I would go with Dessers.
Yeah.
I don't think you risk your £6 million player yet on Astra grass.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good point, mate. That's a good point.
Yeah, he's probably told. He's probably been told no.
Aye, probably.
That's a good point. All right, it'll be interesting to see how they set up then. All right, so I think we've got to try and get Cantwell and Lammers on the pitch. Is that what you're thinking, Giant?
Yeah, I mean, they're both going to be on the pitch, aren't they? So I think this is where the issue of the shape comes in as well, because no different statures ever, but they're similar sort of players, and they both lovely touches, can both spot a pass, can both beat people, but I wouldn't say either are blessed with lightning pace. So you can't maybe have them both out hugging the touchlines. So I think that's also where some of our issues are coming in regarding to the shape. Because you're trying to maybe play two players where long term we might see there's only room for one. Unless you maybe look at, I think Cantwell's maybe got the ability to drop a bit deeper. But I don't think that's really where you want top Cantwell playing.
You want him to get involved. We've not seen the best of Cantwell, if I've been honest with him pre-season. He's not been fantastic. The standards he set at the back end of last year, GP.
No, that's what I was going to touch on, just with the whole Cantwell Lammers. I think JM's on to the problem. I mean, I think as much as Lammers has showed class and he's been probably the shining light out the new signings, I think Lammers has kind of took like Cantwell's position, and I think the two of them are not got that. They're not in sync yet. I've noticed. I think at Olympiacos game, just coming out at half time, Cantwell was talking to Lammers, and obviously they're in discussion. I think Cantwell's getting a bit frustrated in there with the movement and stuff like that, and I'm really surprised how, like, we finished that Old Firm game with Cantwell in a kind of more forward right position, Ox, and I think that's his best position. But it's where do you fit in Lammers, and that's going to be as much as I think the manager's trying to get Cantwell in the team, and he needs to be in the team, I just don't think this midfield position that we were set up the now is working for him. We've seen that early doors with him when he joined Rangers. He played in that kind of midfield, and Hank Hadji was on the field at the same time, and it just didn't work. Cantwell playing more forward has shown his best football for us. So that's a bit of a dilemma for the manager, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I think where you get your issue is at the back end of the season, like or not the quality of the two he had in front of him, he had a bit of pace to hit, didn't he? With Sakala and Matondo. And these players that like a pass, they need some legs to hit it to. Now, I'm not suggesting you starting Sakala and Matondo again and play Cantwell behind them, but you need to give them a chance as well. I mean, you can't put these slick balls through to a old school conventional number 9. They're not going to turn and run onto them. So it's just trying to find that blend of quality and legs, if you like, and just trying to get them all in together.
It's going to be interesting. Come and give your thoughts. 0141 356 1972. Right, we've not touched on it, GB. Yeah. The ladies' team picked up a trophy the weekend when we beat that mob 2-1 in the final. Come back, scored 2 goals the last couple of minutes. Showed a bit of character. Won a trophy, and hopefully it's a booster of confidence for the new season, GB.
Best way to win a trophy, Ox, isn't it? I mean, you're in a final, you beat Celtic, and you get 2 goals in the dying minutes to win it. So, fantastic comeback. And to be fair, like I says, I think for what I seen for them last season, the way they were playing, that game would have just fizzled out. So, showed character, Ox, got back into the game and won the trophy. And hopefully, moments like that, Ox, really do kickstart the season. And hopefully they can take that confidence going into this new season and challenge for the title, mate.
Yeah, just good to see them win a trophy against that mob at any time. Tiddlywinks are in, Jayama.
Always good to see a win, isn't it? Especially in that sort of fashion. It looked a bit of excitement to them, but yeah, as I said, hopefully they take that momentum into next season. It'll be good.
Right, here's one for you two. You mentioned fashion there, yeah? Obviously, there's a lot of talk in the media that fashion could do at the club. But what you've seen at the moment is Seaman an upgrade, and he's no other player he's only here for a year potentially. Is Seaman an upgrade in fashion? What we've seen at the moment, Jayam?
What we've seen at the moment, I'd say absolutely not. I don't think it'd take much to have a slightly better natural touch in fashion. But in terms of his directness, danger to defenders, likeliness to score a goal, I don't want to, you're not putting someone down before they've got started, but compared to Sakala, I've not seen that yet.
Is that the touch when he scored the goal at Tavernier you're talking about?
I'm sure he tried to back heel that.
GB.
Again, the manager sometimes flings up mere questions than answers with what's been happening in the pre-season and stuff like that. We're all happy with the signings that's coming in and stuff like that, but he needs to be careful. I mean, he's got rid of Choak, and now it looks as though we're trying to push fashion out the door. And to be fair, mate, they were the 2 ones that gave us goals last season, apart from Tav. And a bit of a dangerous game, especially when you're bringing a lot of new strikers into the team. I mean, you've really got to hope that all these boys hit the ground running. And like you say, Seema showed flashes of quality at times, especially I was at the Newcastle game and I seen him in that, and you could see that he's a player that's got a good touch about him and stuff like that. But Fashion's got that unpredictability about him. And I don't know, maybe it's a settling in period, maybe with Seaman and stuff like that, Ox, and maybe the manager knows that there's got to be quality to come for him. But I just think for what Fashion cost us, he cost us a free transfer, and I would imagine he's no on mega wages and stuff like that. And I know we've got Roof in the background as well, but I just think that the boy, he's came on, he scored as well in pre-season. So I just think it's a dangerous game to play then when you get rid of everybody that's been scoring your goals so early on. I mean, we've still got, like I says, if he feels that come the next transfer window that it's time to move on, then maybe that's the point in time. But as it stands now, you really want to get after a flyer this season.
Could it be as simple as economics, Jayam?
Yeah, they're probably looking at who they can shift and who can they sell and trying to offload some wages. I mean, we don't see enough of it, but between the two, he's probably going to be easier to sell and easier to move on than, say, Matondo for the wages. But all I want to know is if we were told we were signing a player from, I don't know, another league in Europe, and he had Fashion Sakala's numbers, and we saw a YouTube video of his goal at Tannadice, a few of other his goals, would we not all be really excited to see him play?
I'll pass you on to our YouTube expert, GB.
Aye, it would be. And by the way, like when you watch some of the YouTube videos of Dessers and stuff like that, I mean, there's goals that he's missed. I mean, the front of goal and stuff like that, and there's been great finishes for Dessers as well. So I mean, for Sakala to be kind of, he comes on, he gives you 110%. There's been big moments that he probably should have buried them, especially like I says against Celtic twice. But overall, I mean, you're looking for your guys to turn up air a season, and Fashion has to a certain extent turned up air a season, and his numbers are decent. His assists are pretty decent and all, and I just think what I say is you'd be hard pushed to go and find somebody for that kind of money that we spent on him. Like I say, it's a free transfer in what he's gave back. Considering you've brought a guy in on loan, hoping that he hits the ground running. I would rather go with try and testy docs first, rather than, like I say, hope for somebody to score goals.
Right. Fashion Kirkawa, keep him, yes or no? GB.
I hope he puts up a fight, Ox, and stays and keep him.
Cheyenne?
Yep, I'd be keeping him. Something different to what we've got. I'd be keeping him.
Right. Could it also be that we mentioned economics? Could it be like there's some of the other players there's been no interest in them? Say Roof, Matondo. Obviously, Roof's just coming back from injury, and Matondo we've rarely seen him. So is that maybe part of the issue as well? GB.
Could be, Ox. I think maybe, like I say, if there's been interest, I mean, we obviously heard about the Saudi League and stuff like that, looking at him, but obviously he's knocked that back, reportedly. And if they see that there's money to be made there, then they can claw him back. And like I say, if Matondo's not getting any traction, and I mean, even to a certain extent, Scott Wright's still in the books, isn't he? So that's still a wee bit up in the air whether he's got to stay or go. So I think they're obviously, like you say, Ox, they're maybe looking at an opportunity that there will be teams with Fashion's numbers that are we can take him. But again, it's down to Fashion, isn't it? He's got a contract there. It's up to him whether he wants to leave. But unfortunately, I think he will end up having to make the decision that he will have to leave, because he's not the type of guy that wants to sit on a bench again or sit in the stands.
I'll be interested to see where it goes. Yeah, I mean, we don't know how good a player Seaman is in Giant. He's no set the head on fire in pre-season friendlies, but there's been other players in the past that haven't started great in these games and turned out to be great players for us.
Yeah, I mean, we're not writing the player off yet, are we? But I think also right to maybe not be too excited with what we've seen, but so far, but it can definitely only get better.
Couldn't get any worse, if we're being honest, huh?
No, if that was if say we were watching a player we've had play for us last season, if that was say that was Kent, for example, performing like that, you'd want him out the door, wouldn't you? You'd be saying that's enough, but you've got to give the new guy a chance.
Aye, and he's only on loan for a year. I don't know if I'm too keen on that. You know, I get the Tillman deal, and I get where there's if it can be reached an agreement, but this is just a straight loan for a year. GP.
I think there's no option to buy Ox. This is just like you say, it's just a loan, and then obviously the boy will make his choice of where his next step is. And with that, then like I said, the boy's really got to hit the ground running to think that he wants to stay.
All right, we've been joined by Roy. Evening, Roy.
Hi, how you doing, guys? All right.
Good to hear from you, mate. First time on, I think, is it?
I've been on before.
Right.
I was actually calling before from Slovakia, but I'm now actually calling from Malta. Travel quite a lot.
All right. Once Interpol catch up on you, mate, you can phone us down regular.
Absolutely. Got to do what you got to do, guys. Right, keep it the spotlight.
We get it, mate. We get it. How you doing?
Good
What's
stuff.
on your mind?
No, I was just listening to you guys. I think there's a lot of good points that you are discussing tonight. I, like every other Rangers fan, watch the games and back and forward all the time, and just wanted to pick up on a couple of the concerns I think that you guys have. I think that the problem we have is obviously the team at the moment are a little bit disjointed for obvious reasons. I mean, we've basically reset the whole squad, but I think the number 10 is a problem, right? I think Campbell played mostly the number 10 last year, and if you actually watched the way that he contributed, he's most of the linchpin connecting the forwards and the midfield. And he was a real thoroughbred number 10, and we played a lot of one-touch football. And I don't see him this year continuing the same role. I think that we're currently lacking the guys up front that know how to play with Cantwell. So I think it's a little bit disjointed. And I think the only guy that we've obviously seen that can actually connect with Cantwell at the moment is the Lammers guy, because he seems to be quite technical and he can do a lot of one-touch football and they can keep the ball up and he's got a really good touches. But I think maybe that we were kind of getting a bit frustrated is we haven't got that one-pass move scenario going forward, and I think we sometimes get compromised by that, by giving away the ball too quickly and too easily. So I think that's going to be our struggle going into the season, is at the present time our goal scoring potential might be quite limited. However, I think if to give Beale his like the way he's looking at a team moving forward, if you look at obviously how Danilo's played from what I've seen from the show reels and stuff like that, he's a real game changer. He plays a lot of one-touch football. He seems that he can move between defences. He can read the game a little bit better. And then you've got Cifuentes that's going to come in. He is a similar type of player, can also move into that number 10. So I think from a Rangers fan perspective, I think we've just got to relax a little bit.
Oh, we've lost Roy. Hopefully be back with us. Winterpool haven't caught up with him. Some great points here. Do you want to pick up on the first ones, Jim?
Yeah, I think he picked up.
He's back. I think he's back.
I just got caught up with the guy. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Carry on, Roy.
Yeah, so just saying, I think Cifuentes shares the same trait, and I think that I don't think there's any alarm bells yet. I think we just got to be a little bit patient. I think the performances are probably not Rangers standard from what we were expecting. But when was the last time we had 10 to 13 players coming into the squad? Of course, we expect better being Rangers, but I think as much as I think that maybe Beale sometimes tactically is not my preferred type of manager, I think he has got a vision for the team, and I think the next 2 or 3 signings that he's going to make is going to bring it all together. That's what I would just like to say. I'm not panicking as a Rangers fan. I know the quality of the 2 new guys are going to come in. I think the Campbell scenario as a number 10 will be fixed once he starts to be able to link up a little bit better. But obviously, having Danilo as a direct number 9 that obviously can also play one-touch football as a Brazilian, can turn players. I'm not too sure about Dessers, to be honest, because we haven't seen enough of them. But I think the combination of Cifuentes, Lammers, and obviously Campbell, I think it could be quite a good combination between midfield and up front.
Giant.
I must admit, I agree with pretty much everything Roy said there, to be fair. The only thing is different is I'm panicking because I am a Rangers fan and you start to get worried when it all comes up. But I think the first thing's right. It's just getting that sort of, if you like, that injection behind maybe your clever players, your Campwells and Lammers. Because like I said, they do play some really, really nice stuff, but it's who are they getting to play it to at the moment? And maybe that's where Danilo's going to come in or something, because them 2 can definitely spot a pass and definitely beat a defender. But like you say, it's who's going to be that finishing touch, who's going to put it in the net. That's what I don't think we've seen at the moment. I think that's the missing piece.
I think that's why we're panicking, I think, to be honest, mate. I think we haven't seen that goal scorer, but there is other players coming through, like Lawrence, that can come from midfield that's not fit yet. And then, we all know that Roof, I think, when I listen to you guys, we're on the same agreement that if we keep a fit Roof, he will definitely put balls in the back of the net, and we might even move to that 4-4-2. I mean, Roof and Danilo, could be quite a good partnership, and I think we've all wanted to see that 4-4-2 formation, right? But I think it's the biggest change we've had in the team for a lot of years. I think there's a lot of guys that we're a little bit bored with, more than anything else. I mean, I think I just talk quickly about the Barisic. I watched them at the weekend in the game, and he had the whole pitch in front of him, and I thought, come on, man, just go for the line, go past the halfway line. But he's just not got the confidence to go past that halfway line at the moment, and I don't understand why. Because, we've seen he is capable of it, and I think that's kind of where we are. I think if we keep Suter fit and Sterling, which I'll come into another discussion when you guys are ready, but yeah, I think having this change of formations, which I think Beale will manage, I think it will frustrate the hell out of us, and I think as long as we pick up those 3 points, and more importantly for us, we need to qualify for the Champions League, even though we might believe it's a little above our ability right now as a team. We can't lose that 40 to 50 million that could potentially bring in, when we know that Celtic will have that, which could potentially put them 100 million in front of us. I think we got to take small steps as a club. I think we got to reset the expectations a little bit, as you said, like this is how Rangers should play. But I think we've also got to be realistic, and there's milestones that we have to meet. And I think the milestones we have to meet is two things: is winning that game against Kilmarnock somehow, some way, hopefully with impressive performance. But if not, that's okay. Let's give the manager time. But the most important thing for me this year, the initial milestone would be getting into the Champions League, making sure that we don't lose touch with Celtic financially, and then build from there.
JB.
Yep, well said, Roy. It's all about keeping the heat and trying to stay calm. I think, like you says, with the signings that are about to come in, and obviously with Danilo coming in, I think the manager touched on in his weekend interview. He said that with the amount of number 9s that he's got, that the shape will need to change slightly so that he can accommodate them. And he did say that in the second half he wanted to see the kind of Roofe-Danilo partnership, which was good, because, I mean, the two of them, I think, a fit Roofe and a fit Danilo, I think, would be a really good up-front partnership, you know what I mean? Yeah, like I said, especially in our league, I think sometimes when you're trying to open doors with the amount of players that are sitting in that box, I think you need the kind of guys that are quite tricky with the pass and good at the feet, like close ball control and stuff like that. I don't think you really need the big in-swing crosses all the time. I think if you can flood the box with technical quality, then you will get it. And I think, like say, a Lammers, a Danilo, a Roofe in there, I think you would get success with that. But as some headache for the manager, I think, like you say, we'll need to give him time. But you know what it's like as Rangers fans, mate. If we turn up to Kilmarnock and we scrape a win, there's going to be even more pressure on him. You know what I mean?
100%. It's just the way it is, right? It's the club's expectations. But I think we all need to stick together, and I think we need to get off the players' backs a little bit as well. I think we are sometimes a little bit too harsh on them. But hey, yeah, let's keep that expectation up. And there is one more point I would like to ask you guys. Something that I've thought for a while. You know, I'm a great fan of Tavernier, not obviously his defensive traits sometimes, but you know, year in, year out, he's proved that he's an essential part of the squad. He does lead by example. I mean, if you look at other players in a similar position in modern day football, they're not that sometimes great defensively because they're told by the managerial team to attack more than defend. Right? That's just the way they're told to play their game, and we have to remember that. Right? That he is told to attack and to get into positions to cross the ball. He's taking corners, he's taking free kicks, and obviously he's our penalty taker, and he has been inspirational for the last couple of years, although maybe his defensive quality has not been there. So now that we have, I think, where Beale has looked at it, is potentially Sterling coming in. I think I would like to see Tavernier move more into a right midfield role and have Sterling potentially come in and out the squad as a rotation, depending how the game is playing out from a real time perspective. Which means if we're needing to attack a little bit more, leave as is, but maybe if we're maybe needing to get a goal, you would bring Sterling at the right back position, or if it's going to be a really tight game of opposition that is maybe tactically or better than us, maybe you would maybe want not to drop Tavernier because he does bring a lot to the team, but maybe solidify the defence by bringing Sterling at the right back and moving Tavernier more into a right midfield role, or maybe something similar. Definitely, I would probably put him as a winger, but I would definitely want to keep him in the team somehow. How would you guys see that working?
I'll take this one first. We've discussed that as a problem or a question that's come up quite regularly over the last few years. I don't think James Tavernier could go into midfield. I think the advantage of him playing there is that he comes late as a defender, and once he was playing in midfield, it's a different game altogether. And I don't think Tav's got the attributes to play in there one up. I think that's how it's never been tried. If you think back, when we did try it with the two fullbacks, it was Patterson we put in there. Yeah, and I don't think it will happen. And I don't think Tav is potentially, he would be quick enough in thinking to play in the midfield. Just my thoughts. Giant.
I would tend to agree with that. I think in theory, what Roy said, it sounds spot on, doesn't it? You've got yourself an attacking right back. If you want to be solid, why not move him one forward and have a more solid defender behind him? But I agree, maybe he's just not quite got the attributes. I think his always positive stuff happens when the game's in front of him. So where he can whip a ball in or that one and he can see it. Whereas, if he's receiving it maybe with his back to defenders and different things, he maybe not quite got that natural instinct to turn, or maybe just not got that pace anymore. But it might be something to consider maybe in, hopefully touching we do get through to the Champions League and we're maybe having to do an old school Europe performance where we're sitting a bit deeper. And you might have the pair of them playing in that right-hand side, potentially in a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1 or something. But, you're going to have the two of them more doing a defensive job.
So you think the best way of doing it is just replacing kind of young for old and seeing how that goes? I mean, you got to remember, Tavernier gives us 25 goals a season potentially and 15, 20 assists. I mean, there's no player has come up with that for a long time, right?
No, and we're not affording a player who can bring them stats either. I think it's very clear. True. I think it's a tough one for a manager, isn't it? I think if Tavernier goes how he's been going the last season or two, his positives are outweighing the negatives, aren't they, with his goal contributions and whatnot. So I think he sticks with them. But on the other hand, I do think the amount of time he's got left on his contract might be a little bit generous from our point of view.
Okay. I just wanted to put that over to you guys. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I mean,
listen, it's all about opinions. But listen, you hang on for a minute, right? We're going to just talk quickly before we move on. But we'll come back to that, and GB can give his thoughts. We're going to have a tune, if you don't mind hanging on, right?
Sure. Yeah,
but it was a great day for the club today. We opened the museum. Two of Rangers Radio's finest were there yesterday. Southside and Big Stevie with the 50 grand people when they were there. And I think Southside was still there today because of museum. He bumped in a few of his ex-girlfriends, but that's another story. Right, great day for the club, GB. Another asset, another revenue stream, and something that the support wanted.
Yep, well, it's been a long time coming. A club of our size and stuff like that deserves a base like that we can show our history and stuff like that. And another good thing I heard, Docs, that even if you go in and see the museum and stuff like that, they are going to rotate it every so often as well. So it's not just got to be that way that you go up and you pay it the once and you go around and see it, just like the trophy room. You're like, oh, same old. It's going to be rotated, so there's always going to be that enticement for the fans to come back. And again, that just generates revenue all the time for it, Ox. It keeps it relevant, and again, it just allows maybe people to learn a wee bit that they haven't learned about as a support. I mean, sometimes you only see what's in front of you sometimes, and I think it's a great thing. I've done the Founding Fathers, and just knowing how it all began and stuff like that is a great thing. And I think for the youngsters as well, I think the pricing, Ox, has been fantastic as well, affordable for the Bears to go in and see it. So, yep, great idea and a big pat to the board again.
Yeah, get yourself to mute, lads, because we're going to have a tune.
See them march on, marching on through the years of history. Heads held on high, for the jersey they will do or die. Fight for right, play the game with the band of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. See them march on, banners high as they fly before you. Loyal and true, on the way to cheer the boys in blue. Follow the drill, marching on to the songs of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story. See them march on, banners high as they fly before you. Loyal and true, on the way to cheer the boys in blue. Follow they will, marching on to the songs of glory. Win, lose or draw, that's the Glasgow Rangers story.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Right, before we go back to Roy's point, which is a great point, GB, you've got a wee announcement for us, mate?
Yep, so it's just to give you a wee update on the last bear standing. We've got good traction on it. We've got a lot of people interested in it. And as it stands now, that like I says, we're still open for people that want to compete in it. Like I says, it's a £5 entry. And each week you'll pick a team from the Scottish Premier League or the Scottish Championship to win. Draws count as losses. And if you do lose, then you're out the game. And we just keep going. Half of the proceeds are looking to go to charity. Like I says, we'll announce that soon. And the other half will go to the ultimate winner, last bear standing. So if anybody's interested, please get in touch at rangersradio.gmail.com or they can message us directly on Facebook.
Rangersradio at gmail.com, yeah?
Yep, that's right, bud. And the Facebook Messenger as well, mate.
Yep. All right. Bit of fun, mate. That's all we're having, a bit of fun, yeah? The money's irrelevant, but it makes it interesting, that's it,
It keeps the weekend interesting as well for some people, Ox. I mean, like I say, there's a lot of things on for people, and like I said, like you said, mate, a wee bit of fun, a wee bit of interest, and like I say, a wee bit goes to charity as well, which is brilliant, mate.
So if you want to do it, and you can purchase a shot at shop.rangersradio.online, yeah? It's already set up, and you don't just need PayPal, you can purchase with anything in the GB, is that correct?
Yep, any card box, so you can go in and you can use it. And if, like I says, if you're struggling, need any help with it, like I says, I'll be available. So you just, like I says, message the Rangers Radio, or you can email us as well, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. And is it also true that you're not allowed to go for a team from the other side of the city this weekend? Is that in the section of the rule somewhere? Is that a sub rule?
It seems to be a popular choice for so far.
Rangers supporters 91. What do you make of that, Giant? What do you make of that?
Money's money, isn't it? No, wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me.
Oh dear. I was talking to Old School Blue before the show, and he said he'd gladly lose his fiver for them to get beat. That's a Drew Bear talking. Well said, Old School Blue.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I can get it. They must be the biggest banker on the card, but it's a moral dilemma. GB.
That's it. I think the really thought is that get them out the road first, and then they can focus on the other teams. And I think from my point of view is if you do pick them this weekend and they go out, then it's win-win, isn't it? Yeah, you're out the game, but they've dropped points as well. So best of luck to anybody.
Can I ask you, anybody that teams them, are we allowed to name and shame them?
I think there will be a list put out, Ox, to let everybody know what the picks are this week. So yes, they will be named and shamed.
It's all about the taking part, or is it all about the winning? Right.
It's all about the banner, Ox, because that's all part of the game, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, GB. What's your thoughts on Roy's point about Tavernier playing one up?
Well, Roy, first of all, mate, brilliant point. Tav is always a big talking point and a big debate as well. I think Tav personally played his best football the season we won the title, and that was purely because, and Ox touched on this earlier, it shouldn't be the case, but I think Ryan Jack always slipped in a cover for Tav running forward a lot of the time, and Jack at that time was hardly injured. He was solid most weeks. He would clean up for Tav and stuff like that. And I think we need to kind of get that back to basics if we're trying to mount a challenge this season. Because let's face it, Tav is the captain. Most weeks he's probably going to be in the team. Don't get me wrong, if bad performances, as Ox has touched on, with the ball going under his feet and all that, you can't put up with that. But I do believe, like I says, the numbers and the assists give him that kind of leeway. And I think we need to find that. Ryan Jack's been in and out of the team a lot, and Raskin's not really picked up on that kind of position yet to help Tav and cover for him as much as what Jack done. Because it was no surprise when Jack came on in the second half at the weekend there that the team did look a bit more solid. And obviously Tav gets his goal. Tav gets his assist as well. So it's a big debate, mate, but I think it's better having Tav in the team than out the team as it stands now.
I agree. Remember as well, like Liverpool had the same problem with Oxlade-Chamberlain, right? So he's probably the best crosser of the ball, has the most amount of assists. Considering it's Andy Robertson in the same team and was a competition, which is good to have on Liverpool. I mean, it's a modern way of the right and left backs. And, as you said, the manager has to compensate for that problem in our team. When you have a high scoring wing back, you don't criticise so much maybe he's defending, when maybe his job is to go out and do assists and more goals. So it is a catch-22, and I get that, but I would just like the Rangers fans maybe just to go a little bit easy on it. I think Beale's got his plan, and I think it's maybe a bit unfair also to criticise Tav as much as he had when we've got other players in the team that maybe haven't given as much to the club as what he has, and that's just my opinion. I think we have to be a bit more sensible about it, and of course be critical of our players. But I think the criticism has been a bit harsh, in my personal opinion.
See your idea about playing them one up. See if we played a 3-5-2. Yeah, I've got problems sometimes with that system. If you're defending, you end up with seven defenders. If you played a 3-5-2, I get it then, Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, as I said, Ox, I'm not saying that that's what we should do, but I think the manager has to compensate the fact that Tav is not going to be the best defender, but we can't take the goals out of the team, because if we take those goals out of the team as the team is rebuilding, I think there'll be more problems than what we have at the moment. So I think rather than blaming Tav, I think we should put a bit more pressure on Beale if that's the case, because he's got to find a way. That's what he's paid to do. The club has backed him to bring these players in. I think in the last 12 years, we've not seen so many new players coming in. I think the first team we spent 12 million on a whole rebuild. I'd imagine that what we're spending this year is going to be way more further than that. So I think that the pressure now has to go off the players a little bit to some extent, and I think we need to see what Beale's going to do tactically to ensure that we don't leak goals at the right midfield. And what I was saying is maybe if we are, maybe that's quite a good option at this point to see how we go with it, rather than just criticise the player, because he's obviously got a job to do to create and score, and he's got us out of the problems that we've had in previous seasons. So he is a trusted player, but I also understand that he can be quite frustrating at times.
Oh, JM, I think Roy makes a great point. I think Beale will be under pressure, like a Rangers manager should be every season.
No, 100%. And on Roy's point, I think our defensive worries might be less down to individual players and more actually down tactically. I don't think they're going to make enough errors themselves personally that are going to deliberately cost us goals. But if you keep leaving both flanks, this is, by the way, not just James Tavernier, if you keep leaving them exposed on 2-on-1 situations, and the more pressure they're under, the more chance they're, going to have to make a mistake. And, if you are, what's the word I'm looking for? If you are left in them situation, you're going to make more mistakes. It's about how we cover them if they do go forward, and also how we keep the ball in them situations when the fullbacks are trying to get forward, and if we're losing it easily in midfield and they're having to run 40 yards back the other way again.
Great.
We expect these guys to do a lot of running, and it's not easy.
Yeah. I've also seen recently a lot, guys, that Rangers tend to lose the ball quite a lot at the moment. Right? We're giving away the ball a lot, which puts pressure on the defence. And some of these guys are set up for the attack, and then they give away a silly pass, and before we know it, in the back foot. So it's maybe not just individual mistakes, of course. Like, I'm not a fan of Ben Davies by any means. I'm kind of a cut between can't wait for another central defender to come in. I think Balogun will definitely do a job, and I'll definitely start him as well on Saturday. I don't think Ben Davies has his heart in it anymore. I think he knows he's on his way out. I think the biggest mistake that we always do is play players that know they're not going to be in the squad anymore, and they're just there to pick up the money and hopefully get a transfer. The days, I think, of these guys coming to Rangers and playing for the Bads through and through like we used to have in the Loudrup and the Goff days are gone. So, if it was left to me, just based on the fact that, Balogun, I know, loves the club and will give 110%, I don't think Ben Davies will do that. So, I think that we've got to look at these half-hearted, performances that we've seen during pre-season, because I think that was quite evident that's what Ben Davies did when he came on. It was a half-hearted attempt to play for the club. So I think there is problems throughout this transition, guys, to be fair. But I think we have to be patient. But of course, I think from what you have said in previous radio shows, that we need to be on top come the next 5-6 games and beat Celtic at home. But I think more importantly than that, I think we need to qualify for the Champions League for financial reasons, because we don't want to be 50, 60, 70 million behind Celtic going into next season with no guaranteed of going straight into the Champions League again next year. So I think we just need to take it at milestones, and we don't need to panic. But at the same time, let's hope that come Saturday and then come into those Champions League games that we perform to what we expect.
Thanks for that, Roy. We'll be joined by Smurf. Evening, Smurf.
Evening, Ox. Evening, everybody.
How are we doing, mate?
Not bad. Just listening there, and just a point that Roy made there. He made a wee reference to the Goff and Loudrup days. Loudrup, I think, was only there 4 years, and in the last year he chucked it. And they held on to him for that year. when they should have taken the money for Chelsea and let them go to Chelsea earlier. So that was just that one wee point. I think people forget that. The other point is with Tav. Albeit we all know about his attributes going forward. However, outside winning that championship, when we were in there, since we've been in the Premiership, we've won 2 trophies. So for all his goals and his penalties and his assists and being captain, we've still only won 2 trophies. So he's got to be part of the problem because he's one of the longest serving players. And I'm sort of, I think people just get overshadowed by this stuff with the amount of goals and that he scores. And, you know, we've had some great nights in Europe. We get to a European final, etc. But again, we didn't win it. And I think we need to get out of this mindset. And we're not, Michael Beale has had 2 transfer windows. He's not going to overhaul that whole squad in 2 transfer windows. He's going to need probably another 2 to get the central defenders in that he needs and to sort out that full-back situation. Tav's getting on a bit, and I totally agree with what Roy was saying with Ben Davies. I don't think he's got the minerals physically or mentally to play for Rangers. And I think Borner's run his course. He's only got a year in his contract, so he'll probably leave under freedom next year. And I think Yilmaz is too wee. And he's been shocking the last 2 games for us in this pre-season. Just that was my point anyway.
GB.
Aye, Smurf, aye. Good points, mate. Mate, let's face it, Tavernier he is getting on. I think he will have a challenge on his hands this season, especially with Sterling. The boy in his interviews, he's not turned up here to just make up the numbers. He has been playing at a decent level down south and stuff like that. So I don't think he's up here just to sit and warm a bench. So he's made it clear that he wants to challenge for that right back position. And again, it's something that we'll just have to adapt to. If the boy gets his chance and he does take that shot, then the team have got to adapt and compensate for the goals not being in the team. And that's where you're looking for their Cantwells and your Lammers and hopefully this new boy Cifuentes turning up as well. You mean you're wanting all these guys to be the ones that's contributing. No, you're right back where the goals. You're wanting your midfield to be contributing. And to be fair, the way Cantwell's been recently in pre-season, he's getting kind of starved. His contribution, I mean, like I says, he finished that season on a total high, and he's come back, and you can see that he's just not in the rhythm yet. And like I says, that's all down to the shape, and we've discussed that at the start of the show. We've got to find a way to get the best out of the players. And that will only come for the manager. And the manager, if he doesn't get it right, Smurf, the pressure's all going to be on him.
Quick question for Roy, and then Smurf. Just a quick question, Roy. Do we read too much into pre-season games?
It's hard not to, isn't it? Because you're looking at the tactical awareness of the manager, what he's trying to do, and I think he's made it clear a couple of times that he's trying to give everybody game time, and he's not got his complete squad that he wants. So it's very difficult to give you a correct answer, but I think, as going back to JB's point, I mean, it's Rangers, right? We need to win every game. So you get totally disappointed and disheartened when you see some of those performances, especially Olympic and Icos. I mean, what was that? I mean, never seen a Rangers game, maybe going back to when we were first came into the SPL after so many years away. It kind of felt like that's where we were again from this rebuild. But look, I think the answer is no and yes. I think it's a 50-50 for me. But what I am excited about is the 2 South American guys coming in, Cifuentes and Danilo. They will have an automatic connection how to play football. It will free up Cantwell to do his thing. you've got a good squad, Lawrence, and I know a lot of people don't like Lundstrom to some extent, but he gives us what he can give us 100%. I think you've got a good squad there. I'm just not sure if Beale will be given enough time to make it work, which I hope he is given enough time. And that's my thought on it. So, Ox, I'm 50-50 with it. I was really disappointed after Olympiacos. I thought I was quite excited looking forward to the game, and after it was a bit deflated and thinking, right, we're basically back to the drawing board again. And also the first half when we were in Germany. So I think there's a lot of work to do. But I'm not looking too much into the games. I think Beale will definitely bring a lot of the old guard back into the fray against Kilmarnock, and slowly introduce these new players once he understands how they're going to fit in and when. I wouldn't expect it to be a complete overhaul overnight. I think he'll have his plan. I don't see a complete change in the squad that much.
All right. Before we bring in Robert Smith, do we read too much into it? Pre-seasons, yes or no? Yes or no?
So, no, because I believe that pre-season, other than getting miles into people's legs, getting everybody fit up to speed, even guys that are going to need to be moved on, they've still got to be given a pre-season. I do think the whole pre-season program's been designed around qualification for the Champions League. What really worries me is that if that is the case, how he shaped up his team, we'd get murdered in Europe. And I think I think a lot of the players we've got as well, I think they're very samey. Good sort of football players, in those forward areas, very, very samey, and I think a lot of them could nullify each other. I think Cantwell looks looked out of sorts because I don't think he's playing in a position where you get the best out of him.
Right.
But that
cheers for that, mate.
Okay.
We've been joined by Robert. Evening, Robert.
Evening, Oxtear, and good evening all the other guys on the show tonight. Well, Oxtear, here comes the defence of James Henry Tavernier, our captain. Yes, you know what's coming. No, it's all right, calm and collective. No, Oxtear, I don't mind people having an opinion. I respect everybody's opinion. But seeing you're going to slaughter my right back and my left back, who was dreadful at the weekend and doesn't really get much attention, doesn't get much said about me, who cost us the 2 goals. Yes, Ridvan. Seeing you're going to do that, and there's 6 or 7 other players on the park, i.e. Dessers, i.e. Seema, and others I could name, who are worse than Tav. Please, Goni, be fair and pick them out as well. Don't just pick the one guy. And GB, can I say to you, you said Tav's best season was 55, maybe get a point there, GB. But can I ask you a wee question, GB? Who was the top goal scorer in the Europa League when we got to Seoul? Who was that, GB?
It was Tav, but I don't. We're not arguing about Tav, mate. We're just discussing Tav is a big debate, mate. He's one that always throws up a discussion. That's the only reason we're focusing on him tonight. Obviously, like I says, the performances, the other players. By the way, especially like I says, Cantwell. I mean, haven't they been great, mate? But like I said, we're just talking genuinely about Tav the new, and it's like I said, nobody's right or wrong, but it's just we're just saying that Tav it sometimes just needs cover, and he's got a boy Sterling that's came in there that's going to be challenging him this season. But
right, can I ask all you guys a wee question here? First of all, you Oxtear, can you take Todd Cantwell and young Nico Raskin out the picture because they didn't come into January of last season, and we all know last season was a disaster. Can any of you tell me another player in your squad who contributed more last season than James Tavernier? Can any of you tell me one player who contributed more than James Tavernier?
Are you basing that on assists and goals, or assists and goals and?
Well, that's the most important thing about a game is assists and goals. That's the most important. And don't give me all this penalty. I'm asking you, can you just give me one player? Take Todd Cantwell and Nico Raskin out the picture because they didn't come into it. Who contributed more last season and who contributed more the season before?
Jolak contributed more last season and half a season.
Well, no, he didn't because he only played half a season. He wasn't
That's what I said.
consistent.
He only played half a season.
Right, and he was injured. He was injured, so
that's right.
So that's what Ruth playing one game. He's saying he's contributing more. If you're not playing, you're not contributing. You're not contributing if you're not playing.
Right, okay.
No,
all right.
no.
To say he was one of our better players last season isn't a great compliment. The season before in Europe, he was outstanding at times, outstanding, and then particularly getting forward, Robert. But you always know he's had that flaw in his game defensively, and that's where he gets criticised, mate, isn't it?
Yeah. Oxdale, listen, I may be contradicting myself here. I've been saying to my friends privately, see the boy Sterling? I hope the boy Sterling is what we're told he is. I've seen a couple of clips. I mean, you can't always go with YouTube. And the boy looks a bit of a powerhouse. I'm hoping that boy comes, and I'm hoping that boy gets a chance in the team. And see if he does, and the boy plays an 8 or 10, and whether that's sacrificing Tab, you can't drop him. That's what I'm looking for. Tab, yes, we all know Tab can't. We know his defence isn't that good, but come on. Borna Barisic and that boy's worse. They two are worse defenders than Tavernier. I'm sorry. And this is the point I'm trying to make when people are slaughtering our captain. Going to be fair about it. Going to be fair and pick out the other ones that are not doing anything. And I know what Smurf's saying there about Kolak, but see if you're not playing, you're not used to Rangers. If you're injured constantly, you're not used to Rangers.
Can I come in and just answer that, because you're not really giving people a chance to respond to you. The fact is, when he's been on the pitch, you were talking about James Tavernier as a defender, right? It's redundant, rubbish, crap.
Right, but so is Ken Alexander.
Doesn't matter. That's just we're not talking about him. They'll stop at him. And the point is, you're saying you're basing your defence of that man on what his attacking prowess is. And you're saying who did better. And I'm saying in half a season, Cholak had as many goals as him. So
Many did Cholak score against Celtic in the big games. Many did score against Celtic. Many did Tab score.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter. It does matter. The big games are...
How many did he score in Eindhoven? Tab. Name. So the point, and the other thing is, hang on, Robert, hold on.
Right, well, no, just hold on. Hold your wee spaces. Right, okay, so look, this show's not going to turn into... Roy asked a point about James Tavernier. We went on that tangent because it was worth the debate. If you listen back to the first of the show, JM, the one that we thought was atrocious and caused 3 out of 4 goals, the last 3 goals we lost was Redvan. We said that the only guy to get pass marks in the first half was Butland. Yeah?
Yeah, 100%. This can't turn into an insult on James Tavernier, vice versa. As you say, Roy came up with some very good points, asked some good questions about where do we play him. Personally, I think if the managers came in and it's got a rebuild structure, I think the last position he'd be looking at is a right back. Maybe moving into January next year. Maybe moving into the end of the season, he might start looking at it. But if you're going to take a rebuild in stages and start looking through, I think the last position he'd be looking at is the right back. But then, as I think GB said, and also Roy, if attackers start contributing more, if midfielders start contributing more goals, then that might take that stress off Tavernier. It might allow him to concentrate more on defending, or it might become the time when we say, we don't need that contribution anymore. And then we can look at someone who maybe concentrates more on defending at right back.
Yeah, right. It's not just about James Tavernier, GB. I mean, it's a whole... You win as a team and lose as a team. Yeah, GB.
Yeah. I think Roy here just try to defend everybody here. I think everybody's got all valid points, but I think we've got to get behind our team a little bit more. Like, I think we all know that not every player that we have in that squad is absolutely perfect, but when Bale take over, we had problems in the squad. I would like to have also seen if Gio was given the ability to sign the players also he wanted to build. There's a lot of debate that we still have, right? And I think that what I'm trying, my point is rather than criticise how can we make the best out of the squad that we have, especially when we've got an attacking right back. Liverpool had the same problem. We're not the only team with the same problem, but at the end of the day, if we take him out of the team and replace him with Sterling, where do we get our 20 goals and 20 assists? So it's up to the manager to find that way out. And I'm totally with the last caller. I'm sorry I forgot your name, but I think
Robert,
you're quite right defending Tavernier 100%. I'm totally on the side. I just want to see that stop.
Right, it's only because he's got a James Tavernier tattoo. That's how he defends him, isn't it, Robert?
No, I didn't want a Tavernier tattoo, Ox. I didn't want a Tavernier tattoo. I'm just fed up like everybody attacking the poor guy, man. Jeez. I mean, he's in the Hall of Legends for a reason. Let's take care of these people, right?
Sometimes you don't know what you've got to. It's not there, but look, we all know Tav's no changed since the day he walked in the door. He hasn't changed. He's got deficiency defence and the plus these games going forward. He hasn't changed. And listen, we'll see where it takes us this year. I think he'll be playing on Saturday. GB.
Aye, we definitely start Knox, and like I says, everybody is making great points tonight on Tav. Nobody's wanting them shipped out the door the morrow. It's just like I says, it does create debate. We all want Tav to put in the performances that we've seen, what he done in Europe and stuff like that. But when you see stuff like he was doing there in the first half of the weekend, I mean, they kind of moments will cost us, much as Ridvan will as well. I mean, and this is where the manager's got to come in his forte. That he's got to go and he's got to make that solid so that going forward, our midfield can do what they need to do. As it stands now, our midfield are making mistakes, then it's falling on the defence who are making mistakes. And like Cox said, it's a full team that's costing ourselves now. And he's really got to get this back into sync, because Tav always plays his best when the team's confident. I noticed that like I says, when there's somebody in covering for Tav when he moves forward and Tav's confident that guy behind him's going to deal with anything that's coming to him, then you always get the best out of Tav.
Right.
Well, just for one of you guys, just to have a look in the replays of the game, especially at the weekend, when the ball is cleared from the opponent's 18-yard box, look at the gaps in the midfield. There's no defensive midfielder picking up the ball between the semicircle and 18-yard line. The gap is massive. It's a massive problem for us. So imagine if you're a right or a left back, right? Where's the midfield? Where's that covering person picking up the loose balls? It is a problem. If you actually look back at the replays, you'll see it for yourself. Something for you to look at.
JM, we touched on the shoot earlier on, didn't we?
Yeah. It's terrible.
We did, didn't we? It's just, I think it's finding the balance, isn't it? A lot of attacking midfielders, a lot of wide men going forward, and as Roy there saying, it's about winning that ball when it breaks away, isn't it? When it breaks down, it's finding that balance and the boys that are going to break it up and get that ball back forward to the attackers.
All right, guys, listen, I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for your time tonight. Always fantastic as ever. All the love from Rangers in Malta, and let's look forward to picking up the 3 points on Saturday.
We'll speak to you next week when you're in. Where are you going? Milan?
I don't know. I'll let you know. I'll let you know where Interpol are tracking me.
No problem, Roy. No problem.
Cheers, guys. All the best. Well done. We are the people. Good night.
What people do to avoid a parking ticket, Robert?
I've done that many times in my life. But anyway, Oxford, I'm looking forward to Saturday, pal. Me and Gary, we were fortunate enough, along with the 2,700 Rangers fans, we got tickets, so we'll be down there in Kilmarnock, cheering on the famous Glasgow Rangers on Saturday. And looking forward to it. But also, can I ask a wee question? I mean, the Michael Beale, he baffles me. I wish he would shut his mouth at times. He just opens his mouth and talks a lot of rubbish at times. And Jimmy, your call-out was on a Friday night. Jimmy was fantastic. I love listening to that man. Listening to him all day long. But Beale told us before he brought in these 9 players, he was going to bring in players with legs. Am I missing something? I don't see it.
You mean you're talking about pace?
Yes, I don't see it. And the pace we've got, he wants to get rid of, i.e. Sakala, who we all know isn't maybe good enough, but at least he's got legs.
I'll ask you this then, is Sakala better than Seema, but we're so at the moment?
100%. I would play Sakala before I'd play Sima and Dessers on Saturday. Yes, 100% I'd play Sakala. And I don't think Plashin is good enough for Rangers. I really don't. And I don't mean to criticise because the boy does geese all. And again, he scores goals. And I'll take up with Smurf there. So did Kolak score 18 goals last season? So we get rid of Sakala. That's just get rid of two players that's got nearly 30 goals between them. And we're going to pin our hopes on Dessers and Sima.
But to be fair, if the manager's correct, GB, Dessers is still a week away from fitness.
Yeah, I understand that, Oxford, and you've got to give them time. You know, as Rangers fans, we just judge right away, and you have got to give them time. And hopefully, come Saturday night, they will turn on. They'll give us a performance. I would Oxford this game on Saturday night. I'd happily take a 1-0 with no injuries. I want to see Rangers win with style, pal. But this one game, because it's on the first game of the season, because it's on that horrible pitch, I'd happily take a James Tavernier penalty in 89 minutes. Rangers won 1-0.
Of course you would in a away game, but we're looking the pre-season. I think if that happened and the performance wasn't grew GB before we bring in Bobja, the pressure would just grow. But if we go out there and play well and win 3-0, the pre-season's forgot about GB.
I think most of the fans probably wouldn't even be bothering about the results during pre-season. You see, they were all defeats and we were seeing a good link-up of play. Like I say, good maybe defensive displays at times. I mean, like I say, we've touched on it with Butland. I mean, as much as Butland was really busy at the weekend, it was a good display by him. So, I mean, that's a plus. But what's annoying the fans is, like I say, is the way we're making really silly mistakes. I mean, like I say, in the defence, it's stuff where people are standing still and guys are just walking the ball into the back of the net. That's what's upsetting the fans. That's what making the fans concerned, because they were the days of old. That was like, I think JM's touched on earlier, you would think that was the team that we seen years ago, and we thought we got all that knocked out of us, and we're just starting to see similarities the season's gone by creeping in this pre-season, and we don't want to see that. We want to see this new team come in with energy and power, and we've just not really seen that yet. There's been people who have had certain good performances, Lammers, Butland, probably the standouts, you know what I mean? But apart from that, there's not been many other kind of standouts, and what we're looking for is the complete picture, and we've just not seen it yet.
All right, we've been joined by Bob Jar. Evening, Bob Jar.
Evening, everyone. How you doing? All right.
What's on your mind, Bob? Yeah.
Well, while you're on the subject, I think Rangers have got, and I mean this, I think Rangers have got a severe problem at fullback. Well, I'm like the rest of you. I watched the 3 games, and the amount of times we were caught wide with people with the 3 games was unbelievable. Was unreal. I mean, it needs to be addressed very quickly.
Right.
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we're getting a lot of feedback for you, Bob. Just I don't know if it's wind or the moving. JM, we talked about the shape before, right at the start of the show, didn't we?
Yeah, that'd be my sort of question back. Is it individuals or is it shape? Or could you find any left or right back that could constantly defend 2-on-1 situations with people high up the pitch being spread out?
JM, just Smurf when you're not talking. Put your phone and mute me. Carry on, JM.
Yeah, sorry. What I was saying is the fullback problem. I mean, I know there has been individual errors. It'd be silly to say, but you can't maybe place mistakes. But is the whole problem coming from the shape, or is it the individuals? What do we think?
Or are you saying, Bob, that James Tavernier's a diddy? Is that what you're saying? Sorry, Rob.
Well,
No, that was a joke. That was
I'll be honest with you.
A joke.
Yeah, you want me honest? I think James Tavernier's time at Rangers is up. If the rumours say before told you to go out to Saudi side Gerrard, well, okay. On the other side, I mean, Barisic, his time is up as well. And Yilmaz, well, he's still to convince a lot of people. He's steady enough wee player, but that's all. But we need a bit of money spent. Like, I mean, he's spent at middle to front, as we can all see. We know exactly who he's brought in, and apparently he's going to be bringing more. But to me, the fullback position really needs to be addressed. Like, it cost us a lot last year, and I didn't want it costing us a lot this year. Everybody in the football world can see it.
It's funny how it goes on. Robert, Well, James Tavernier's getting more years behind him at our club, and he's got in front of him. And Bonner's contract's up next season. He might go in this window, you don't know. Ridvan, let's be honest, we thought he's looked comfortable, but the last 2 games, his individual errors have cost us 3 goals, in 2 different games. So we're critiquing that. If they go and play well on Saturday, their mistakes are forgotten about, and we'll see where it takes us. But full-back position is something we'll need to look at going forward.
Listen, 100%. I'm not that naive not to see it myself. We've got a problem in the full-back position. And also, you touched on something earlier on. Why doesn't he rip it up? Because our defence is pretty shocking. If we're going to be honest with us, the season we won 55, we conceded 13 goals that whole season. I think we only conceded 2 at Ibrox, something like that. That's what wins your leagues up here, conceding a lot of goals, right? Why doesn't he try be different, Michael Beale? Try something different. Why no try a 3-5-2? Why no try it? Because we know Tav, Bomber and Ridvan, they're not the greatest defenders. So why no push them up to get balls into them? And if you've got 2 in the middle, and I'll tell you the 2 I would love to see, if everybody's fit, I'd love to see Danilo and Kemar Roof. Because see Kemar Roof's fit, that's a £5 million player, the same with Tom Lawrence. And I would love to see Danilo and Kemar Roof. And I think we've got loads of goals. And if Tav and Bomber can get on their game, because they can put in decent balls into the box. I would love to see them try this 3-5-2. I really would.
All right. The shape. I don't think you're alone in thinking they need a different shape. JM.
Yeah, on that point from Robert, I think there's no doubt if Kemar Roof plays every game, he's going to get you 15 to 20 goals a season. But it's just if he stays fit. On the shape, I think, again, on paper, the 3-5-2, if you're getting the boys crossing into 2 strikers, definitely good. But I think the one negative there, people thinking, is that one too many centre-halves, one too many defenders? Especially at home, when you're looking to play in the middle, would it be seen as a bit too defensive with the 3 centre-halves? I'm not too sure.
Aye. Bob, you're of a certain vintage. You ever known a Rangers team out of any wingers?
Let me think. No, we had some of the greatest wingers in the game, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Some of the greatest wingers in the game. I didn't remember a Rangers team without any wingers. No. I'm trying to think. You rack my brains. No, I don't remember a Rangers team without any wingers. No, we've gone down through the years. No, we always had great wingers.
Smurf, what's your thoughts on the shape?
Hi, mate. No, I think for me the shape. I think we need to play a 4-2-3-1, and so that central sort of midfield too, Baskin and maybe Jack beside him, maybe the boy Cifuentes when he comes in, maybe in there. I'd like to see for him a 3. Tom Lawrence on the left, maybe Lammers, and then playing in the 10 position, in the sort of traditional sort of 7 position, not quite an out-and-out winger, but I've Cantwell, and I agree with Robert in the sense that what I've witnessed is if these 2 new strikers that have come in, they've proven nothing. You've seen them. I think. If he can stay fit, I think the wee man's the best striker we've got.
Listen, Danilo done well when he came on and Saturday, brought a bit of energy. Dessers, if you accept the manager's point, he told us last week he was 2 weeks away, so we can only judge the boy when he's fit. Same as Roof and Danilo. We always have to be fair. Giant.
Yep, I think it's too early. I think that's the scary thing going into it, especially when you say that we're shifting out a lot of goals. We're going into the game on Saturday, and let's be honest, we don't actually know who our best striker is. And that's maybe not a positive position to be in. I think at the moment it looks like Dessers is going to start out with the fault. which even though he's not 100% fit. So I'm saying on paper and what we've seen, we know Ruth will give us goals, but at the moment, I think realistically, no one actually knows who we think we're going to start up front.
It's interesting. Interesting. I can't believe, Robert, nobody's mentioned Matondo.
Why would you? Oh, God. Oh, sir, that's a wee question. I know it's early in the week, but going with what we've got, I know there's a wee virus going about and that. What would your line-up be Saturday against Kilmarnock?
Oh, drop tab for a start, Robert.
Right, that's okay. I don't mind that. As long as it brings Sterling in, right, that's fine. I don't mind it. No.
But if everybody's fit, I would go Butland, Tavernier, Suter and Davis, and then Redvan, Raskin. And if you go on performances and you talk about Saturday's performance, I thought Jack was a lot more effective than Lundstrom, but I think the manager would go with Lundstrom. And then he'll play 3 in front of that. I think the manager will go with Seema, Lammers and Cantwell. I think he might play Danilo up top because I think he's more fitter than Dessers is. Here you go.
Yeah, and Oxford, can I ask you, if the boy Sapiensis, or whatever I think that's his pronunciation, comes in Tuesday events, would you know risk play? Would you know throw him right into the deep end? No,
I think you've got to be fair on the boy, GB. I think you've got to be fair on the boy if he does come in this week. Yeah, it's a new culture, different language.
But he's played half a season. He's playing actually now upstairs, you know.
He'll be fit, new culture, travelling, jet lag, no knowing the players. GB.
Robert, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the boy himself will probably in the door and be chopping at the bit to get in the team. But again, mate, it's just that plastic. It's that plastic pitch. He's not got an understanding of the team yet and stuff like that. That's the only probably 2 reasons. Apart from that, see if it was probably a home game, I'd probably say he would definitely be on the bench, maybe getting some minutes in the second half or something like that. But see, because it's Kelly away, I think the manager will just be wanting to get in and get out, no injuries and a decent performance and a win, mate.
That's it. That's all I'm looking for, GB. As I said, 1-0, no injuries. I'll be happy with that.
I'll be honest. If I was picking the team and you're picking on for him, I would have Sakala in for Seema. I don't think Seema's done anything. You know, you're based on the pre-season games, but the manager's got his plans and he wants to move out JM and I suppose favourites come and go, don't they?
Absolutely. I think on it, it's quite scary really thinking if you thought about it. But Sakala on form and on form it's pre-season, but on numbers coming into it has to be in that team if you're picking it like that. But it doesn't look like he's going to be in it. I also think on pre-season out of the midfielders, Dow's got to start. But as I said in my 11 earlier, but I don't think he'll pick him. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think he plays when we play a 4-3-3, JM. He plays away.
You don't think he can do the Lundstrom job better than Lundstrom, considering he's quicker than him, likes to tackle and can pass the ball?
What do I think of John Lundstrom? No comment.
Yeah, I just think he looks more incapable of playing in that role as well as because he's got an engine. I agree he'll look good in a 4-3-3, maybe on that left hand side just ahead of Raskin, but I think he could play in that too, no bother.
If you're basing it on form and you're basing it on a substitute performance when John Lundstrom came on against Olympiacos, he would have got in the team for 6 months, you know. But and then he had no bad second half when he went back to centre half against Hoffenheim, who will not play many teams apart from Europe as good as Hoffenheim. GB.
No, but I mean, Lundstrom back at centre back and stuff like that. That's just, I mean, we shouldn't be in that situation, Ox. I mean, we're going into a new season. We need tried and tested in there. Lundstrom, I think, it'll be like the K in the case. It'll be horses for courses. I mean, you've seen him in the last Old Firm game. He was right in the middle, right in about it. Got that bit of dig. We'll need players like that for they type of games. Whereas, nae harm, but you don't know how the South American boys are going to hold themselves up against an Old Firm game and stuff like that. So it'll be horses for courses with these type of players, especially like Jack and all that as well. I mean, so I think it'll be a part of the squad, but it'll be used as and when, I think.
That'll be interesting. We're in for an interesting time. Huh? I couldn't pick his team with certainty, if I'm being honest, Robert. I really couldn't.
I know. And obviously, I see what you're just touching on there, John Lundstrom. Now, to me, I've seen with Ryan Jack. I like Ryan Jack, right? They're too slow, right? I want legs in the Rangers team. But see Lundstrom frustrates me. Cast your mind back to last season. Remember the 2-each game against them at Ibrox? And they should have won. Michael Beale made all these changes he shouldn't have. Lundstrom was brilliant that game. He was absolutely brilliant at that 2-each game. And he has turned, see some of the bigger games, if you really cast your mind back, he has turned up, especially against stadium games. I know the cup games he didn't right, but that's what frustrates me about John Lundstrom. He is a player, he's no get the pace, but that frustrates me. That 2-each game I thought he was outstanding, and yet we don't see it enough. We need consistency and we need legs in our team.
Aye, we're in for a listen. He gets this right. It's going to be interesting, Bob Jared, yeah. But if he gets it wrong, well, every manager in the country, you're under pressure, aren't you?
No, this is it. I mean, see, the pre-season's past, so it's now we're faced with reality. We've got this game to new come on, like first game of the season, and they're going to be up for it and all with their limitations. And we're playing Rangers today, big crowd, it's a gala day, let's all go for it and get up for it. Well, we've got to be exactly the same attitude as them. We're Rangers, we've got better players than them, let's do it in the style and beat them 2 or 3-0, and I think we can. And sure, come on.
And you go, Smurf.
How many transfer windows does he get to rebuild this team before?
How many transfer windows has he had?
No, does he give him to sort of...
He'll get 100 transfer windows if your team's winning, mate.
Aye, but what I'm saying is...
And he might only get one if the results are right. It's as simple as that. That's the pressure you're in as a manager. Not just at your club, but any club. It's a results-driven industry. It's as simple as that. And unfortunately, sometimes it's just the manager is the only one that carries the can. Giant.
100%. I mean, didn't Gio only get 2 and he took us to a Europa League final? I mean, you've got to be realistic, haven't you? I'm not sure if it looks like it's going in the right direction. If we're still in touching distance or winning, he's going to get an opportunity to build on. But if we go to October, maybe September, October, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better, the pressure's going to be seriously on him, isn't it? And then it's a case of, do you trust him with another transfer window? Because you can't say he's not been backed in this one.
Yeah, that was my next point. Yeah, you spend money. You give him money to spend in January. That's it. Yeah.
I think I was reading earlier we're up for the biggest spend since the 08-09 season transfer window. So he's definitely been backed. You know, if we sign one more, what's it look like we're going to sign with the outlay, and then there's talk of a 10th, isn't there? Quite strong sources. So we're on course for our biggest spend since then. So he's definitely been backed.
Yeah. Listen, I think he knows that, and he's selected these players and he's chosen them and he's dealt with them. And according to the media, we seem to have picked up most of our first choices. GB.
Aye, Ox, I think, like it says, we've no needed that director of football. Beale's done all the travelling. He's went and met the players. He's let them know what he expects of them. He's went in and spoke to them, seeing if they're a good fit for Rangers as well. So we've just got to trust them. I mean, he's the guy that's went in and said that these boys have got a good understanding of what it's going to take to win titles. And to be fair, when you look at like say Danilo, he's brought in a guy that's been winning titles and trophies and all that. And then you've got Dessers there. Early days, but boy, he was the top goal scorer as well before he moved to Italy. And then Lammers has been playing in a a team that's been fighting relegation, and you can see straight away that once he's in a team like, say, Rangers, where they've got a lot of the ball, you can see that guy's quality's coming through. So it will take time. We've got to be a bit patient, but the thing is, what's hard in our league is that we've got a Champions League qualifier so early on. See, if that Champions League qualifier was probably September time, we'd probably be all right. We wouldn't be as panicking as much, but I think we're looking at it. These 4 pre-season games are kind of telling us that we're probably not ready for the Champions League game, but more than capable ready for the league, in a sense.
All right, do you want to give your last bear standing a shout out, mate?
Yep, mate. So again, if these are wanting involved, just get in contact with the show, either by the email, which is RangersRadio at gmail.com, and you can message us as well on the Rangers Facebook page. Twitter's obviously advertising as well, so if you need to get in touch with us on that platform, you can get in touch through that. And like I said,
that's the Rangers Radio. That's the Rangers Radio Facebook page, not the Rangers page.
Aye, message them, they might get in touch with you through that as well. It's a big demand in the Hawks. But I know it's a £5 a shot. Like I says, half of the proceeds is going to charity, and half will go to the winner. You're looking to pick one team each week from the Scottish Premier League and the Scottish Championship to win. Draws count as losses, and any losses means that you're at the competition.
Once you've took that team, you can't take them again.
That's right, mate. So make sure you get the monkey mob out the road right away.
I think anybody that takes him should be named and shamed. What do you think, Robert?
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you. And if you want to take a shot, you can do it directly at shop.rangersradio.online. Simple as that. Any card. And as soon as we get the numbers in, we'll tell you how much we've raised, and then we'll decide between us as the weeks go on where it's going to go, and you listeners can have their input in that. Last word for your good self, Bob Chair.
Well, all I can say is the majority of these lads that have come in have no kicked a ball in reality for Rangers yet. And they'll find out what it's all about on Saturday, and you say I'm probably the worst pitch in Scotland. It's a big test for them on Saturday, but a test we can overcome. Get behind the team, get behind the manager. As Brad says, the Rangers need us and we need the Rangers. So follow on, eh?
Yes,
and wish you all the best.
Smith.
Aye, thanks for having me on, and just onwards and upwards. Can't wait for Saturday's start. And as Bridge would say, keep it going for Rangers.
Yeah. Good, Robert.
5 more sleeps to me and our Gary head down to Kilmarnock to watch the world's finest football club, Glasgow Rangers. And I hope to meet up. I'd love to meet up with Big Stevie in Southside to sing proper Rangers songs in that Rangers end. Come on, the Rangers, let's do it on Saturday. We are the people.
They'll both be there if they ever get to the museum, that is. Right, okay. Thanks, Robert. Good to hear from you. GB.
Brilliant tonight, Ox. That's a good show. Great to hear the callers in, especially Roy. Great points, and he stirred up some debate there around about Tav, which was quite enjoyable.
If you mention Tav, you just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You know Robert will be.
Boom. And thanks for letting us promote the last beer standing. Like I says, it's getting a lot of traction, and it's going to a worthwhile cause, mate.
Yeah. Giant.
Some great stuff tonight. Great debate. Thanks for having me on again, and just looking forward to Saturday now. Can't wait.
Yeah. Thanks to Roy. Thanks to Robert. Thanks to Bob Jar. Thanks to Smith.
Privilege.
Thanks to GB and JM for doing the show. Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Everybody for listening. Everybody for all the support. We really do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10 talking about all things Rangers. Take it away, Old School Blue.